everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. So our topic for today is how to audit your e-commerce site and improve the customer journey. My name is Catherine Brown and I've worked in e-commerce for many years, and I'm looking forward to sharing some of that experience with you here today. So first of all, the Digital Culture Network. If you haven't come across us previously, this is who we are. You can find us online. We provide lots of wonderful resources to the arts sector, and you can also book some time for one-to-one help and support. So do check out our website and how we can support you. So the aim of this webinar is to understand the stages in a typical customer journey. We're going to be looking at how we can identify our customer needs on each page of our site, and also learning about how our website compares with best practice. So, exit through the gift shop. I think that's a phrase we're all familiar with. A gift shop can be a really vital stream of revenue for any arts organisation, but sometimes it can feel harder to drive revenue online. So today we're going to be taking a closer look at the customer journey and using that to help us identify opportunities to grow our online sales. So, what goes on in a gift shop? Well, using some simple maths, visitors multiplied by shop equals revenue. So in this world, if I want to increase my revenue, I've got two options. I can either invite more people to come into my shop, or I can change something about my shop so that people spend more money in it. And actually, in the online world, we have quite a similar equation. So I might have a website which has, say, 20,000 visitors who arrive each month. And of those visitors, a certain amount of them might choose to make a purchase, say 3%. And we call this number the conversion rate, the number of people who decide to purchase and convert on our website. Now, all those people will spend different amounts of money. And a number we're really interested in is the average order value. On average, how much do our customers spend with us? So in this example, say they may spend £25 each on average. And these three numbers together multiply through to give our online revenue. So in this example, 20,000 visitors came to our website, 3% decided to make a purchase, and on average, they spent £25 each. And that gives us a lovely monthly revenue of £15,000. Now, this equation is really important in e-commerce. It's how we understand what are the key drivers for affecting and growing our online revenue. And today we're going to be looking at this part of the equation. So we're going to be looking at the customer journey. And this is everything that we can do on our website to encourage people to make a purchase and to encourage people to spend more money. Now, I worked for many years for many different businesses, and this equation was pretty much burnt on my retinas. It guided all of my decisions about how we were running those online businesses. I'm really interested as to how familiar this equation feels for you. So I'm just going to pull up a little poll and find out whether this seems like a familiar equation to you. So does this sound very familiar, something you think about all the time? Somewhat familiar, you've kind of heard of it, or, oh, that's pretty new, which is great. Just helps me understand, the experience we have in the room with us here today. That's brilliant. I can see lots of results flying in. Fantastic. And it feels like we've got quite a nice spread of experience in the room with us. It's ticking up. So it's quite a lot of people. At the moment, it's like about 50% of people have had some familiarity with it, but maybe, this is nice and even. 22% haven't. So I'm just going to end that poll and share the results with you. So I think this is going to pop up on screen for you so we can see for most people, over half people, this is kind of familiar. And then we've got some people who are very familiar and some people who've never seen it before. Thank you so much for sharing that information with me. That's fantastic. So let's move on. Let's move on. And let's take a look at a customer journey in a shop. So here we are in the lovely Tate Britain gift shop. And I was thinking about what might I do as a customer in this shop? Well, first of all, I might browse. So I might walk over to the bookshelves, take a look at what books are available. I might move from the books over to this stand here and look at this lovely bag. So I can move quite freely in this environment. Just by a small turn of the head, I can see all the different types of products which are available to me. I might take a closer look at something. So I may look at this lovely scarf here. I might feel what that fabric looks like. I might pick something up. I can tell how heavy it is. I might take a closer look at this bag and see, oh, what size is that? How does it feel over my shoulder? This is a very information-rich environment for our customers. There's lots that they can pick up. It's very tactile. There's a lot of certainty about what these products are, how they look and feel. I also might be able to find related items. So shops tend to be laid out in quite nice logical ways. We tend to locate similar things next to each other, and that really helps the customer find other things which they might be interested in. Now, I might also take a look at the price. We all know how frustrating it is when something doesn't have a price on it, but let's assume in this shop, everything does have a price. And there's something really quite special about prices in shops. And that is, that price is definitely the price. If I pick up this spectacle box, I see the price of it, and I take it over to the till, it's not going to suddenly magically jump up in price when I get to the till. And that's something which is very unique to the physical shop environment. And we'll see when we come to an online environment, customers have a lot more concerns and a lot more uncertainty about, oh, how much is this really going to cost me? And the other thing I can do while I'm in the shop is I could ask a question. I think there's probably some lovely staff on hand. I could ask, do you have this item in blue? Is this washable? Again, there's lots of information which is very readily available to our customers in this environment. So this brings me to what may seem like a strange point to make, but I know where I am. I'm in the Tate Britain gift shop, and I know what happens next. I know how to behave in this environment. It's very instinctive, and I have a high level of certainty. So I've looked at the product that I'm considering buying. I know the price of it. I can take that item to the till. I know what that price will be. And even more importantly, I'll know I can then take that item home with me that very day. So there's an awful lot of certainty. And this is, as I was saying earlier, it's very information-rich environment. And what we'll find is in an online world, actually, we have to work a lot harder to create that same level of confidence and certainty in our customers. And that's what we're going to spend quite a bit of time looking at today, looking at how this customer journey translates in the online world and what we can learn from that to make websites that are strong and powerful and help our customers through this journey with confidence and certainty. So let's take a look at that customer journey. Well, actually, it is quite similar. So my customers will arrive at my website, and they could arrive on any page. They will then browse about my website. And the ways they do this is they will use the search box, the navigation menu. They will look at things on category pages, and they will also come back to the home page as well. These are all different parts of the website that help us browse. They will then consider a particular item. And at this point in the journey, the pages they're really engaging with is the product page. That's no surprise. But also we're going to be looking at the important role that delivery and returns information plays and how that helps customers to consider the item they're purchasing. Finally, hopefully our customer is going to choose to make a purchase, and we'll be helping them to convert. So we'll be helping them move from the product page through to the basket, through to the checkout. And our final stage is the delivery. So that item arriving with our customer. And we'll see there actually are interactions that form part of the customer journey after the item has been purchased. So there are emails that we send, and there is that parcel arriving itself. Now, we're at the first part of our journey. So our customer has arrived. At this point, we need to make sure the shop is open and the lights are on. So in an online world, what are our equivalents? What can we audit? Well, we can look at the page speed. We can think about how quick and responsive our websites are. We can look at how easy they are to access from mobile and from laptop. We can think about how easy it is for customers to reach our shop from our larger organization homepage. And we'll also take a little look at what I call human accessibility. So how easy it is for people with different needs to access this website. So let's get into it. So first up, checking page speed. Why should we do it? Well, this is all about improving the conversion rate. The best conversion rates occur when a website loads in less than 2 seconds. Anything over 4 to 5 seconds is considered really quite slow. And there are lots of free tools we can use to check our website. My colleague Ollie was going to drop some of those into the chat box, but these are Page Speed Insights, which is provided by Google, GT Metrics, and Pingdom. And these are all websites where you can go and you can type in the URL for your online shop, and it will spit you back some information about how quickly your website loads. And it will look quite detailed like this. So it's going to tell you in milliseconds what's happening. And don't worry if you don't understand all of it. What you're really looking for here is red flags. So where it gives you some traffic light coded things that you could improve, does anything come up flagged as red? And these will typically be things to do with if you've got any very large images, which are slowing down your site, or if you have any conflicting script errors. So think of it as an awareness tool. It can help prompt conversations with, if you work with an agency or developers, it can help you guide them as to things you want them to work on. Don't work with people like that. You're also welcome to come and discuss it with us, and we can help guide you as to how you can make some improvements on your site. So next up, device accessibility. How device friendly is your website? So there's a very useful tool, Google Mobile Friendly Check, and this will give you a really simple yes, no. It's a green tick or a red cross as to whether your website works on a mobile. Go to that service, check it out. Is your site working well for mobile? You can also use, again, Page Speed Insights, and this will give you some detailed breakdown between mobile and desktop. And Ollie will be dropping into the chat box links for these, and he'll also drop in a link for previous webinar we ran with the kind of point in the webinar where there's some real detail about what Page Speed Insights for mobile can look like. But go there, check it out, use them as awareness tools, and you're looking for those red flags to identify any problems. Next up, finding your way to the shop. So for many arts organizations, you're part of there's an online shop, and it's part of a much larger organization website. That's perfectly fine and really normal. What you want to make sure is that your customers can find their way to the shop. So this is an example here from the Tate, and you can see there's a really nice clear link top of in the header saying shop. So it's very easy for customers to get there. This is another example from Kettle's Yard. And again, this is an organization with lots of things going on. But what I really like about this is that the shop is given equivalent presence to the other things in the organization. So that's really what we're looking for. We're looking to be there present at an equal level on the main navigation menu from your larger organization website. So check that out. It's a really important way of bringing traffic into your website. Now, human accessibility. This is a really big topic. There's a huge amount of information out there, and I'm definitely not going to cover it all today, but I wanted to draw your attention to a couple of main points. So, first of all, you should definitely avoid using lots of moving or flashing images. These can be very distracting, and they can cause real particular problems for people with epilepsy, so do avoid these. Next up, colour contrast. So here you can see today I've got lovely large black text on a white background. It makes it very easy to read and follow. And we want to be thinking about a similar thing for our website. So how visually legible is our site? This matters for people with visual impairments, but it also matters for people who are using maybe, say, their mobile phone out and about on a sunny day. And so if we're clever about our colour contrast, it will mean that our website is working for more people in more conditions. Now, again, there's some really useful tools which you can drop in which Ollie will drop in the text box, and that will help you check. So WebAIM will help you check specific colour pairs, and Ally will help you check whole web pages. I really find Ally excellent. You can chuck in a URL and it'll tell you whether it's passing visual accessibility requirements. And last up, screen readers. There are lots of people out there who access the web in slightly different ways using screen readers. And the way that we can ensure they understand the images on our websites is to make sure that they have alt text associated with those images. This is text that you can set in the back end of your CMS or your e-commerce platform with every single image which goes onto your website. So do make sure that that is something you're using. If you're not familiar with that, feel free to get in contact with us and we can help you with that area. Now, I think we should be on to the next stage of our customer journey. So at this stage, our customer is really asking us, they want to find things, they're interested, they've got through the door, they're interested in the shop. So what are we going to look at to make sure that they're having a good experience at this part of the journey? Well, first up, we're going to think about stock availability. And actually, this isn't a technical question. It's not a digital question. This is something which you as an organization decide. So how much of your stock do you make available for sale on your website? If it's not listed online, you cannot sell it online. So it's a really important thing to be aware of and to understand how that can really make a difference to our online revenue. Next up, there are 3 key ways that our customers can find things on our website. So they can use the search box, they can use the navigation menu, and they can use banners. And these will help people going from looking for something specific, using a search function, through to people who are looking for more inspiration, which is where things like banners come into play. Now, each of those things will take the customer to what is called a category page. And this is where we're looking to show our customer great products. So we're going to take a closer look at each of these and see about what can we order. And just a small note, I know we're covering a lot of ground today. There's quite a lot of material to get through. So there will be resources which are published along with the recording as well. So don't worry about frantically taking notes on everything. There will be that support after the webinar too. So the search function, what are we looking for? Well, first of all, I'm looking for a really clear, prominent design of a search box. So something which is in an obvious place on the page, clearly delineated, labeled with text, so I know what to do with this box, and preferably with some recognizable icon as well. It's a really good idea to test your search box. So if you look for some products using the search box on your website, do you get sensible results back? Give it a try and see what's happening for you. Also, this search data can be really useful information for you as an organization. It helps you know what customers are looking for, what they might be struggling to find, and it will change through the year. So what people are looking for in the run up to Christmas is very different to what they're looking for at Christmas in the summer. So yeah, get into the habit of looking at this data. You can find it in the back end of your analytics, so in Google Analytics, and you can also find it within your e-commerce platform. Again, feel free to get in touch if that's not something you're familiar with. And when you're in there looking at it at the back end of your e-commerce platform, you can do something which is setting up manual links for particular products. So if there are queries where customers are typing something in and your website isn't finding any results, but you do have an item which will be relevant to that query, you can manually choose some products to show against that search query. So that's a really helpful thing to know about. Next up, navigation menus. Again, we're looking for clear, prominent design, and we'll look at some examples of that. We're looking to be using wording that makes sense to our audience. So words they're familiar with, words that our customers would describe our products using. And we're looking for it to be an opportunity to highlight seasonal and topical categories. And we should have this question in mind. Is it possible to reach all of my products through the navigation menu? That can be a bit of a conundrum to figure out, but it's really important. If customers cannot reach the items through the menu, they won't be able to find them, they won't get purchased. So looking at some examples. First of all, here we've got the V&A shop. What I really like about this is the use of colour to delineate where we are on the menu here. There's a very broad range of products which are shown, but they're nice words. I understand them. They're very user-friendly, simple language. There's a link to current exhibitions. And also, you can tell I put this presentation together prior to Christmas. They're highlighting some seasonal product too. And this example I picked out because it's very strong on gifting, and I know that can be really important for arts organisations. So there's a very expansive range of gifts here, and they've really thought about what are the different occasions that people shop for. Lastly, they've also decided to focus on gift vouchers. They can be a real great money maker for any organisation. And so it's really good if we don't bury them at the bottom of the website and instead choose to feature them on things like the navigation menu. Now, banners. These are for our customers who are looking for inspiration. They're really important on that main shop landing page. There's a lot of organisations I speak with, and I visit the shop homepage and I'm hit with a wall of product, as if they're expecting me to scroll through every single item they happen to stock. That is not a good customer journey. Instead, what we want to be doing is providing visual routes to groups of products. And these banners, they can be seasonal and frequently changed. So it's a really great way of being able to draw attention to things that your customers might be interested in at different points in the year. So let's look at some examples. Here we are on the Tate website, and what I really like about these banners is that they're bright and visually appealing. It's quite a broad product range, so I've got everything from coffee to pajamas. I've got some lovely things to do with Paul Cézanne. So there's quite a variety of product that is being surfaced to the customer on this homepage. And the other thing I really like about them is there's some nice, clear buttons, and we call these call to actions or CTAs, and they encourage me to click to carry on that journey. Now, this is an example from a much more commercial organisation, and I picked this out because I thought what was really great about it is the density of different routes into the product that is being offered in this small space. So this space here is called above the fold. It's what I can see on the screen before I scroll. And if we count up, there are actually 10 different routes into different product areas in this small space. So 4 across here, 6 at the bottom. And there's the use of nice images to encourage me to click. And there's also the use of text telling me why it might be interesting for me to click through and see this product range. So this is all about surfacing as much as possible to the customer. With this in mind, I'm really interested in how you feel your websites currently do in terms of surfacing product. And so I'm just going to pull up a little poll which asks you about this question. So, how well do you surface products on your site? Really well. We make full use of menus and banners. Okay, but we could be providing a few more routes into products. Or not so well, there's actually quite a lot we could improve. So I'll just give that a few more another minute or so to run. And let's see, we've got lots of nice answers coming in. Fantastic. It looks like most people feel like they could be providing a few more routes. There's a 12% of people out there who are doing a really great job on it, and a quarter of people or so who think that there's actually quite a lot they could improve. So that's great news. Like, identifying things you can improve is always good. You've got something to work on, which is going to help you grow those revenues. So that's fantastic. I'm going to end that poll there, and I will share the results so everybody can see what that looked like. So thank you so much for replying to that. And we will carry on to our next stage of the journey. So those menus and those banners are going to take us to the category page. Now, on this page, we want to make sure that we're offering our customers a selection. So in order for it to feel like a genuine choice, there needs to be at least 3 or 4 products on that page. And also, we want to be making sure that we've got lovely, appealing images and nice, clear names. We want to have our prices very clear and visible. We want to make sure that we are displaying our best-selling items first. And if we can, we want to offer our customer the ability to sort by price, by best-selling, by new in, etc. And I'm also going to show you an example of some text which generally is put on the page to help search engines, the SEO that this mentions here, but also can be useful to customers too. And all of these things are helping us towards that objective of getting a user to click on a product. So, some examples of category pages. This is one from the Baltic. And what I love about this, first of all, is some really bright, engaging images. This is good, clear photography, and the products have got really sensible names. There's also a little drop down here, so I can sort by price, by featured, etc. And this here is that text I was mentioning. So this, you could call it SEO text, and it helps search engines know what is on this page, but it will also help the customer too. It's generally 1 to 2 sentences long and really helps pull in some traffic to each of those category pages. Strictly speaking, that's not an absolute necessity for the customer journey, but it will really help you with pulling in traffic to your website. So I couldn't miss the opportunity to mention it while we're looking at the category page today. Here is another example. Again, there's some great illustrative images which give me a clear idea of what these products are. And if you do have a lot of products on a page, it is a good idea, if possible, to offer customers filters. So they've got some way of cutting down and seeing the options relevant to them on a page. Now, we're on to our third stage of the journey. So this is the consideration stage. And this is where we really have to convince our customer that they've found a product which they would like to buy. So what are we going to be looking at? Well, this is all about the product page. No surprise there. But it is also about the delivery and returns information. Now, I really like to think about these two as Winnie the Pooh and Piglet. These two pages work together, and they're all about removing doubts and uncertainty. They are very much a double act. If we go back to that customer journey in the shop at Tate Britain, I talked about certainty, about knowing the product, knowing the final price. And so These pages, the product page and the delivery and returns information, these are in many ways, your hardest working pages. They've got to do a lot of heavy lifting to get your customer feeling confident and convinced that this is the item they want to go on and purchase. So let's take a look at some examples of how we can do this. So here is a page from Kettle's Yard, and there's lots that I really like about this product page. So first of all, there's some really great imagery. So it's a nice clear image. There's a hand, which gives me a sense of scale as to how big this item is. And it also really helps me imagine touching and feeling that item myself. It's a really great sales trick to include hands or things which help us relate to the human within our photography. I also really like the fact that there's multiple images, so I can see this product from different angles. And there's a very clear price. This price is at the top of the page. I don't have to scroll down to find it. And lastly, there is a useful description. So here I can see some information about how to use the item. There are some dimensions, and there's also some information about the person who has made this item. And the last thing on this page, which is really useful to me, is some related items. So I'm being shown some other products which might interest me if I like this one. Now, selling artwork is also, and it can be an important thing for many arts organisations, whether that's original artwork or prints from your collection. And it can be quite a tricky thing to sell online. One of the trickiest things to get across is the scale of items. And one of the things this image is doing here is we're seeing the item in context. So it helps us understand the scale. Now, obviously, it's not always practical to do lots of big photo shoots in fancy locations, but there are some great tools which can help you achieve this. I'm a big fan of an app called Canva, and my colleague will be dropping a link to this in the chat box. And this helps you set up virtual mock-ups so you can see what your artwork would look like in many different types of settings. And you can choose the type of setting which would feel like the right fit for your organization. Dimensions. People need to understand how big it is. So make sure this is at the top of the page and easily visible. And then lastly, information about the artist. Obviously, we're often looking at a high price point purchase with works of art and prints. The customer will want to know more about this person. Who is this person? Who is Kanika here? Tell me about her story. People are making an emotional purchase at this point. So make sure that information is available to your customer. Now, here's another example. And I've put this in to emphasize that photography doesn't always need to be boring. Doesn't always need to be in a white box or a neutral setting. Actually, it can be great when it's a nice tactile environment that says something about who you are as an organization, relates to your personality and brand. So this is me saying, think creatively, experiment about what is going to sell your product, make it appear aspirational and appealing. And the other thing on this product page, which I really like, is the shipping. That might sound like a bit of a geeky thing to say, but it is beyond important that this is accessible from the product page. Which brings me to, yes, delivery and returns. This is, as I think I've mentioned already, it's totally the elephant in the room for the customer. It is where most uncertainty lies. And as I'm sure you probably feel too, nobody really likes paying for delivery. It feels a little bit like money for nothing. So we want to tackle this in the most upfront way we can. We want to make it quick and easy for our customer to find out how much delivery will cost and how long it will take. We want to highlight how much you have to spend to get free delivery. And we want to clearly state our returns policy. So what might this look like? Here is an example from We the Curious. And they've got a really great site-wide banner highlighting their free shipping offer. So if I spend over £50, I can get free shipping on their website. What they also do is they provide me a link if I want to find out more about shipping. So it might be that I'm not intending to spend £50, or perhaps I'm somewhere outside of the UK. So it's really important for customers they can find information about the whole shipping policy elsewhere. This is an example from a more commercial organisation, and we can see that they're also choosing to highlight their free delivery offer right up there next to the price. So this little zone near the price, this is where, when people are trying to think about how much is this all going to cost me, this is the kind of zone of the page they're going to gravitate towards. So linking to either your shipping policy, highlighting your free delivery offer in this area is really sensible. This organisation also chooses to go into a whole lot of other detail, particularly in the run-up to Christmas, right here on the product page. So that gives you an indication of how important that delivery information is to the customer at this point in the journey. And also, it's really important that our customer can find this information at any point while they are on your website. And the way to do this is to make sure there is a link from the footer to both your delivery and your returns page. And what might that page look like? Well, they're generally not rocket science as pages go. It's all about making them quick and easy to understand. I don't want to see an essay. I don't want to have to read lots of information. I just want to be able to quickly and easily understand how much this delivery is going to cost me and how quickly it's going to get there. So it's all about cutting to the chase, not making your customer hunt around. And a good thing to think about is, who is the largest group of customers? And for most organizations, that will be your UK customer. So focus on addressing that largest group first on this page. Now, with that in mind, having spoken about how important delivery and returns information is, have you forgotten about Piglet? How easy is it for you to find information about delivery and returns on your website? So I'm just going to launch this little poll, and hopefully people can share with us. So is it very well signposted, clear to understand? Perhaps it's not so easy, it's there, but it could be a bit easier to find. Or it's pretty difficult, and even if you can find it, it might not really be quite complete. I might be missing my returns information or things of that matter. So just let those answers roll in. Thank you for everyone taking part. It's great to see these numbers flying in. That's wonderful. It looks like for most people, they think that it could be easier to find. There's a handful of people out there who think it's very easy to find, and a few people who think, oh, yeah, it's really difficult. So that's fantastic. I'll just see if there are any more responses coming in. Not yet. Fantastic. So thank you, everybody. I will just end that poll, and we can have a look at those results. So yes, for 72% of people, they really think there's something they could do. So that's fantastic that everybody's understanding how important that delivery and returns information is for them. So thank you for sharing that with me. And carrying on, so the last thing which I just wanted to talk about with respect to this convince stage where our customer is on the product page is some of the things which are kind of going beyond the basic tactics. So we could do something, so we can add reviews. I'm sure you're really familiar with customer reviews on other websites. They're one of the biggest things we can do to increase our conversion rate. And there's actually lots, they're becoming more and more accessible to people on all different e-commerce platforms. So if you are interested in adding these to your website, do get in touch with us. We'd love to help and support you with that. You can also do clever things such as using social proof. So showing how many other people are looking at an item or have purchased an item recently. And you can also do things such as adding web chat. So letting you talk to a customer assistant directly. So this brings us to the next stage of the journey. So we've now convinced our customer of the product that they want to buy. And we're on to what's called the conversion path. So this is all about helping our customer check out. So what are we going to be auditing? Well, we're going to be looking at the route. So from the product page to the basket, to the checkout, to that order being placed. And what we're aiming for is this to feel easy and smooth, and for it not to feel like an obstacle course. So how do we do that? Well, to get from our product page to the basket, first of all, we need a nice clear CTA on the product page. We need to confirm to our customer when they have added an item to their basket. And we need to make sure that that basket is easy to access at all points across your website. So here is an example from the Brunel Museum. Oh, apologies. And what I really like about this is that there's a really nice, bright call to action. And it says very clearly, add to basket. And it is above the fold. So it is in that first area of the website. I don't have to scroll to find it. Here we have an example of how we can confirm to the customer that an item has been added to the basket. So this is nice and visual. I can see this is the item and it has been added to my basket. And then it's really important that I can access that basket easily. So again, I really like this use. It's a nice visual icon. It's in the header. It's very clearly displayed. And there's a nice red number 1 telling me I've got an item in my basket. So it's clearly highlighting that there is some actions to take to continue this customer journey. Now, how do we get from the basket to the checkout? Well, we want to make sure that basket has a really nice, clear total. We want to show our customers what their payment options might be. Now, this is important because customers don't want to get halfway through the checkout and then discover their preferred payment method isn't available. And also, it can really help conversion. So, for example, if you are an organization that accepts Apple Pay or Google Pay, there are certain people out there who just really love to shop using that method. And actually, it will increase your conversion rate for those customers. So let them know that you offer that service. And I probably sound like I'm stuck on repeat. A nice, clear call to action. Check out now. So let's look at some examples. Before examples, and there are a couple of extra things we can think about. So we can think about whether there might be any items we could also promote to our customer at the same time in the basket. And we also might think if there are any other things, messages we could add to our basket, which might help the conversion rate. So let's look at some examples. So first of all, this total is nice and clear. I can see it's going to cost me £13.50, and it very clearly states that this is excluding delivery. And then this basket goes on to make very clear what those delivery costs are, so I know the situation. And they've also then gone on and done some great maths and told me that if I spend £46.50 more, I will get free UK delivery. This is really helpful. I understand the price and I understand the delivery costs. Now, here is what I mean about showing your customer the payment options available. So I can see all my different options. And yes, I might be somebody who I like to shop by Apple Pay. It's quick, easy, and convenient. So if I tell customers this here, I might get more of those people clicking through into the checkout. I've got that nice, clear call to action, secure checkout. And there are actually a lot of studies which show if you add a little arrow to the right or a little triangle in Western culture, that really helps with conversion rate. It's a nice action symbol. And this is an example of where we might cross-promote something. So here the Tate is suggesting that I might be interested in membership. So you might have something as an organization, which is a generic offer or something which applies to all customers that you would like to offer them, such as in a membership. And a basket can be a great place to promote that. Here is another example of a great basket layout. And I just want to draw your attention to this message here. And this says, every purchase in our shop supports us as an educational charity. Now that's a fantastic message, which might, again, help that conversion rate. So getting from the checkout to the order being placed, the final hurdle, as it were. Our mission is to get from our customers their shipping information. So where does their item need to be delivered to? And we need their credit card information. Now, it can be a bit tricky configuring checkouts, and a lot of what you do will be probably quite tied to the e-commerce platform that you are using. So what I'm going to focus on here is some good principles that we should be applying regardless of platform that you're using. So first of all, we want to be asking for as little information as possible. We want to be removing all distraction as we go through the checkout, and I will show you an example of what that looks like and what that means. We want to be thinking about error messages. So customers will type the wrong thing in the wrong box. It just happens. What's important for us is how our website helps the customer realize that's happened, what we can do in terms of using error messages and, unsurprisingly, the color red to flag that something needs to be altered. And we want to be showing our customer where they are in the checkout. You know, we all sometimes feel like, oof, you know, I've got to fill all this information out. We want to be letting our customer know how close they are to this purchase being done. And no surprises, some nice clear call to action buttons, helping customers know where to go next at each stage of the journey. So here is an example from Turner Contemporary. Now, the first thing I want to draw your attention to is what's not on the page. Now, this is a screen grab of everything in the browser from the very top. And what we can see is there isn't a big main navigation menu up here. There's no what's on, there's no link to the kind of Instagram or Twitter, there's no planning your visit. That kind of main navigation menu has disappeared. So that is a key thing to make sure when you go into the checkout on your website that those distractions also are being stripped away. And if you keep an eye out for this as you're shopping elsewhere, this is utterly standard e-commerce practice. Now, what else do I like about this page? Well, there's some nice visual reminder of the items I'm shopping for, kind of coaxes me through because I decide, oh, I would really like this cushion. Here we can see that visual reminder of where we are in terms of the stages in the checkout. Here we can see I'm letting customers know that this field is optional. So it's back to that point of asking for as little information as possible. If people don't have to fill something in, let them know, because then people who want to skip it, they can keep on going. Now, this is an example of how we can let a customer know that an error has occurred. So you can see in this box, I've started to type in 123. It's clearly not a postcode, and this box has kind of turned red. It's highlighting that this is the wrong type of data for this box. So I would really recommend through your checkout, type some wrong information in the wrong places, try and continue and see how helpful your website is at letting customers know a mistake has happened. Because if we provide good error messages flagging where the problems are, we're going to do a much better on our conversion rate. And last but not least, there's that nice clear button showing me the way to the next stage. So by this point, we think our customer has placed an order. Fantastic. We're now on to the final stage of the customer journey, which is deliver. And our aim is not to disappoint our customer. So what happens post that purchase? What are the things we can audit to make sure that this is still a continuing positive journey? Well, we can look at the order confirmation page and the email. We can look at the dispatch email. And we can also look at what goes out with that parcel itself. So essentially, there's quite a lot of information which happens after an order is placed. So these post-purchase interactions, we want to make sure there's a nice clear record of what has been ordered. And this is the most important thing, which I really want to get across to everybody today. This is our chance to set expectations. If we communicate clearly to customers what they can expect in terms of delivery times and communications, they won't be disappointed. So it's all about managing expectations. We want to signpost where our help and customer service are. And the reason we're doing all of this is we want this to be a really positive experience because we're hoping that they're going to come back and shop again. Now, this is an example of an order confirmation I received from a museum shop recently. And there are some good things about this email. So first of all, they're doing that thing about managing expectations. They're telling me that there are some strikes and that order volumes are high. They're telling me what will happen next, that they're going to email me when the item has been dispatched. They're also drawing attention to, if I have any problems, how I can get in contact with their customer service. And they're also doing a very clever thing. They're offering me 15% off my next purchase, which will really help me come back and shop again. So there's lots about this which is good in terms of the content, that the kind of bones of what they're communicating. But I think they probably could be doing a bit of a stronger job in terms of having a strong brand look and feel, a bit more personality about who they are as an organization. So this is just a more commercial example, which we can see has a much stronger brand look and feel. And we can see there's a nice visual reminder of what we're buying and the lovely discount that we've secured. They're again doing this piece around managing expectations. They're telling me when my order will be processed, and this graphic is giving me an idea of what's going to happen next. And they've also really clearly presented a lot of the factual information. So my order number, the payment method, the shipping method. So with all of that, we should have an item ready to be delivered. So this is a commercial organization who their customers get incredibly excited about the orders arriving. In fact, so excited, they take a picture of the box and will share it on social media before they've even opened it. Obviously, not everybody has the budget to invest lots of money in fancy packaging, but there are also humble ways we can do this. So somebody like Rare Mags, who are a really interesting specialist retailer, they put these nice personalized little stamps on the outside of the packaging. And what this is all about is helping our customer feel positive, excited about that item that has now arrived with them. So there are simple ways we can do that to make sure that it is a positive experience and memorable the whole way through. So what have we looked at today? Well, we've looked at 5 stages of the customer journey, which we can remember as A, B, C, C, D. So first of all, our customers arrived, and we looked at lots of things to make sure our website was up and ready and working and easily accessible. We then went on to look at how a customer will browse, and we looked at the parts of the website that will guide them around. We then spent quite a bit of time thinking about how a customer considers an item and the really important role of the product page and the delivery and returns information. We then went on to think about that path which takes them from the product page through to the checkout, and that is our conversion. And last of all, we thought about what is that experience like when the item is finally delivered. So hopefully today that has given you an idea of how we can break down the customer journey and what the different needs are as a customer travels through that process, and has given you some inspiration and ideas about how you can identify opportunities to improve your website and grow your online revenue. So with that, we will move on to our Q&A.
Thank you, Kath. That was excellent. Super interesting. I learned a lot myself. Right, we have 4 minutes left, so not long to answer a few questions, but we've got a couple coming in, so I will just crack on with that. Okay, first one from Holly. So are you allowed to copy and paste product descriptions from other sites?
Ooh, really good question. So I would recommend that this is not good practice for a couple of reasons. I'm not an expert on copyright, but I guess there might be some technical or legal implications there. But it's also not a good recommendation from an SEO perspective as well, because effectively, if Google sees what it calls duplicate content, the same content around the internet, it doesn't rank your website very favorably as a result. So I would recommend against doing that. It is always better to write your own descriptions if you can. It's fine to take other descriptions, tweak, amend, alter, but I wouldn't recommend copying and pasting.
Brilliant. Okay, we have one from Nicola. Do you have any tips for how to improve a delivery page?
Oh, yes. I'm glad you've zoned in on the delivery page. Absolutely. So first of all, think about who is your biggest group of customers? Is it a UK audience or is it an international audience? And address them first on the page. I would also make sure that you are upbeat and positive about your delivery information, and you're trying to convey that you're confident in the service. And so just being very clear about this is how long it takes us to dispatch the item, and this is how long it takes for the item to be delivered. So honesty is the best policy. Be upbeat and positive about it and address the most relevant people first.
Thanks, Kath. Okay, I've seen one from Catherine here in the chat. What would you say are good percentage benchmarks for adding to basket through checkout? We notice a drop off at each stage, but wondered if we are in the right ballpark.
Yeah. So these numbers will change the whole way through. So I generally, I'm not looking at exactly what they are the whole way through. I'm considering the end because it really will vary massively from organization to organization. What you should be focusing in is, are there changes I can make which, you know, you're looking at that and you're seeing your current rate, and if I make a change, can I improve that rate? And then I would go back to overall, a good conversion rate is 3%. 2%, okay, 2 to 3%, we want to be in that range. Anything over 3%, you're kind of knocking it out of the park. But I would, yeah, I don't put too much weight on exactly what those absolute numbers are going through it. It's more about, can I get those numbers moving in the right direction? So think more about how can we increase them.
Brilliant, Kath. I guess the conversion rate is linked to the product as well, right? The type of product.
Yeah, and time of year, day of week. So, you know, Monday night is a great Sunday evening, Monday night, that should be your busiest times for your online shop. So your conversion rates will be better at that time of day. It'll be much better the last weekend of the month when people have been paid. It'll be much stronger in the run up to Christmas. There are lots of things which affect our conversion rate through time.
Right. Oh, we just had one from Jennifer. What is a good conversion rate? So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah.
I think we have time for one more, maybe. Let me see. Martha, for reporting, which key areas do you recommend reporting on?
Oh, great question.
Sorry, that was my alarm.
Go back to that equation we had at the start. So we were looking at traffic, conversion rate, AOV. And I want to be monitoring those each week, and I want to be thinking about, you know, how those numbers are changing as in relation to what I'm doing on my website. So, and they will help you decide as an organization, you know, is my website, have I got quite a healthy conversion rate? In which case I want to really focus my attention on pulling more traffic to the website. Or actually, if I got lots of traffic coming to the website, So I want to focus on doing things to improve my conversion rate and improve my AOV. When I say AOV, I mean average order value. We didn't quite get to talking about it today, but thinking about how that average order value relates to if you're offering free delivery over a certain threshold order, the relationship between those two numbers is quite key. So you can use that free delivery threshold to try and coax people to spend a bit more money, which can bring up your average order value. So definitely go back to that first equation we talked about and use that as a guiding point. And and if you want to get into some more detail, feel free to book some time, so you know I can talk about this stuff for a long time and love helping people with it. So do get in touch.
Thank you so much, Kath. I think that's time. So yeah, thanks everyone, and yeah, be in touch.
So that's just up on the screen, our details. So do be in touch via any of those ways, and we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. All right.